Hey guys, how's it going? It's me, Yoko from Japan. Welcome back to my channel. So this video is actually inspired by one of you who left a comment in English asking me, Yoko, why are you talking about Hong Kong instead of South Korea, which is the country that you have a horrible relationship with right now? Like, why are you focusing on Hong Kong instead of South Korea? And that was the main message of the comment. I thought that I should answer that a little bit because understanding this would get you the idea of the situation that Japan is in or Asia is in. South Korea is of course led by Moon Jae-in, as you all know it. And who is Moon Jae-in? What kind of person is he? He's the puppet of North Korea. I personally even feel that Moon Jae-in fails to be a puppet because he's not trusted by Kim Jong-un. Do you remember when President Trump recently said that President Trump can't trust Moon Jae-in? When that news came out, I read on the news that Kim Jong-un even stated that he can't trust Moon Jae-in either. Basically, how I see Moon Jae-in is the Korean version of Obama. Do you know what I mean? Of course, Obama's destruction of the US was based on white guilt. And the South Korean situation is not like that. But what I'm trying to say is that Moon Jae-in is destroying South Korea. It's weakening South Korea and also brainwashing the citizens in order to unify those two countries in the peninsula. And really awful things are happening, you know, between Japan and South Korea. And how do I summarize that? So basically they even abandoned GSOMIA, you know, the military agreement and everything, and they are going radically anti-Japan. And the worst part of that is that Japanese conservatives are not thinking straight anymore. Japanese conservatives today are really emotional, and their emotion is clouding their judgment on, like, politically. But I have common sense and I'm looking at everything without emotions. And what I think about South Korea is as simple as this: defeat Moon Jae-in regime. And that's all I have to say, or that's all I have to try to do, because Moon Jae-in is just determined politically, and South Korea is something that we have to deal with. But the thing is that Moon Jae-in is just going after what he has to do, and all the policies that he takes is just based on his ideas, and we can't change who he is and what he believes in because he's that determined. Like, he's going crazy, you know, so we can't stop him. The only way to stop him is not to oppose to every single policy that he passes, but we just have to stop him itself, you know what I mean, as a president. So what we can do is to help the conservative people in South Korea. It's not reported, but there are lots of conservative people in South Korea right now who are fighting against the Moon regime. I actually want to, you know, introduce their voices, you know, those oppressed voices in South Korea. That's important for us. We, like Trump supporter type of people or conservative type of people in the world, we have to support them because they are fighting against North Korea and their president, who is the puppet of North Korea. And so that's all I think about South Korea. Japanese conservatives are happily trapped by Moon Jae-in's idea, you know. So the best scenario for North Korea or China or even Russia is to divide Japan and South Korea, right? Because right now, just imagine a map, world map in your head, okay? Right now, South Korea is on the side of Japan and the US, but right now Moon Jae-in is trying to be hated by Japan, and also Moon Jae-in is agitating South Korean people to hate Japan so that he can cut the ties between Japan and South Korea. And because of this, even American people are starting to understand that it's hard to team up with South Korea. But this leads to the success of North Korea or Moon Jae-in or China, Russia, because they get Korea as an ally. Like, they get to rip off South Korea from Japan and the US, and they get an ally. And in order to counter that, we have to think differently from, you know, just opposing to everything that they do. We have to think about things more fundamentally. And some of you might be even wondering why I support Hong Kong independence so much, or why do I cheer on President Trump, like Trump senpai, right? There are some haters out there who think that I'm just trying to get an attention from people or something, that I have some sort of validation problem or some sort. I have to tell you, I don't have that at all. because I used to have it a little bit back in the day, because it's like a father issue, you know, like I did have mental problems, but today I'm an adult, I'm married, I'm happy, I'm just calm and everything. But what you need to know is the situation that Japan is in historically. So we lost World War II, America wrote our constitution, and the purpose of that was so that we cannot rise militarily anymore. Like we can't revenge to the US. That was the purpose. Back in the day, the US or Democrats fundamentally thought that Japan was their enemy and that they had to make sure to contain us, right? That we can't rise again. And the system that was established at the time is so like powerful that we can't break it, and we still have the same constitution for more than 7 decades. And so we are trying to revise the constitution, and also there are other things that we can do even without rewriting our constitution. But long story short, we want to do things darkly like the US does. If we get politically threatened, or if our security is threatened, then we want to, you know, threaten them back, or we want to fight back. But we can't do that because we don't have such constitution or laws to activate that. Of course, Japan is the biggest countries in the whole world. We come, like if you look at the GDP, I don't know if you use it as a measurement, but Japanese perspective, Japanese people use GDP to look at the world power, and it goes like this. It's the US, China, and then Japan. Japan comes to the third place. We are a big country, and also our technology is really advanced. Even though we are really advanced and we are powerful, we don't have the system to activate those. We don't have nuclear weapons, and we don't even have the military, and we don't even have the laws or constitution. So we have to go around the system to make everything work. And Japan is, of course, if you look at the map, we are very close to China, North Korea, and South Korea. Even though there is the sea, they can easily come invade to Japan, like as the history shows. And Japanese people are aware of it. And at the same time, even though we want to fight back, like especially the territorial issues that we have with China, the Senkaku Islands, around that, China is coming in like every day. And if Japan was like the US type of country right now, or even the UK, like normal country would just fight back or threaten or even attack if the country is invaded. But Japan cannot do, because we don't have the system. So we have to go around it. And right now what my husband and I are interested in is to contain China, to stop Chinese expansion by teaming up with our allies like Tibet, Uyghurs, and Mongolia, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Vietnam, India, and Cambodia. Like, oh, China, if you just look at the map, guys, it's like China is spreading, and there are victim countries, and the front line is, of course, Hong Kong. And my husband and I, or some conservative people in Japan, we are with nation states like those that are fighting against China, and that's why China dislike us. So this is pretty rough explanation, but I think you get the common idea of, you know, the situation that we are in. Of course, Japan can do a lot of things, but we are really trapped by the post-war regime. It's so ironic that, you know, Japan became this huge country with technology and everything, and we can keep up with the Western countries and so on, which is great. But especially after World War II, which is the last war that Japan has been in, our country developed by far, right? Because our society is very like mature in a way, that we are developed and we're a rich nation, and we have technology, people are nice to each other, and we have a certain level of peace. If you live here, you don't realize that there are things that are threaten our security and economy. Like there are problems, but we don't notice that. Our living standards are so high that people don't realize that we are threatened. And so most of the people don't realize that we are in the middle of the wars that are happening in the world today. Like there are battles everywhere, but people don't think that we are in a war, you know what I mean? People somehow believe that there has to be a declaration of war or else it's not a war. I think most people have that understanding, which is wrong. It's such a struggle that even though Japan is an independent nation, our system isn't independent. You know, we can't protect ourselves. Japanese leftists are willing to do nothing when we are invaded or when we are attacked by other nations. Unlike the leftists in the US, what I'm jealous of in the US is that even Democrats know how to fight, like they rather intervene in other countries, right? And they know how security, like national security works. But Japanese leftists, they just expose themselves so that China can take over. That's the mentality that Japanese leftists have. Just generally post-war generation like us right now, we're still just struggling with the post-war regime. I'm just thinking how to protect my country, you know, based on that. I have to accept what happened, and with that premise, we have to think what we can do, right? I believe in the balance of power because that's what brings peace, right? So it's not like I'm trying to get attention or approval from other countries or a lot of people. It's that this is the way that we fight, you know, making friends overseas, teaming up against our common enemies. That's the tactic that we have. So if you happen to see a hater of me, just let them know this, okay? Because it's not like I'm trying to be a Western. It's not like I do love American English. I'm obsessed with American English and it's so cool that I can speak like this, even though I should improve. But what you need to know is that I do what I do, like making these videos, talking to you guys and everything. I do all of this because I am a proud patriot in Japan, okay? I love my country and that's why I need to team up with you. You know what I'm saying? So I hope you got what I'm trying to say, okay? Oh my gosh, my husband gets home in 20 minutes, but I have to go to the grocery store, run back, cook, and welcome him. There's no way. Oh, wish me luck. Anyway, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. And also I'm on Twitter and Facebook, and I am kind of on Instagram as well. And if you can, please support me on Patreon as well. My husband's job contract was over at the end of August, so we're like how are we gonna make a living? So if you could support us, that would be a great help. And also I do abstract art, so please check out my Etsy store as well. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.